this is exactly the type of environment where I want to see what Jonathan Aranda can do with a Cy Young lefty pitcher. Show me what you can do, Jonathan, when you are riding at your highest, when you are the most confident you have ever felt in the major leagues. Show me what you can do.
I am with you. I'm on your side. Let the hot hand ride. Let the young kid get some run against a very, very talented pitcher, because at some point, you're going to be matched up against someone like that in an important situation.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we are here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
In every season, up till now, very likely, they've gone to the playoffs. Unfortunately, not this time around. But there's still baseball remaining, so grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today.
All right, Ulises, we have a mailbag episode, 3 terrific questions to dive into, but I think you have some business you need to bring up on the pod. Is that correct?
I do. And I want people on the YouTubes to first hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. And then after that, I want you to tell me how much of a boomer take this is, like from 1 to 10.
Okay.
And that's 1, right? That's the first thing I need. I need you to tell me, hey, Ulises, this is a boomer take 10, level 10. Level 1, hey, it's not at all. It's reasonable. How in the blank do you have a guy that you want to see get at bats, get a home run one day, get a home run the next, get a home run the next day? That's 3 in a row, folks. And then you sit him down. I'm not finished. Yes, he's going against another lefty. Yes, that lefty is probably most likely going to be winning the Cy Young Award. I don't care. And for those that are like, well, the splits, man, the splits are really bad against lefties. Tell me the difference between a 186 hitter and a 204 hitter. I'll tell you, not that much. Not that much. And you know how I know that? Because those averages are very in line with what we have seen this Rays offense perform for 158 games. So
yes.
Tell me if this is a boomer take, but how can you take Jonathan Aranda out of a starting role? I get it, lefty, Cy Young, and the splits and all that, but some things, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The guy is hot. The guy's confidence is there. I'm sorry. That's a Kevin Crash moment or a front office crash moment. You can't do this.
It's one thing of, okay, traveling on the road 4 games in a row, but they had an off day yesterday.
Right.
So I feel like Aranda would have already been rested, relaxed, recuperated from hitting a home run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to be inserted in the lineup. And my take is this: no matter what we say of there's still a chance to get into the dance, win every game, and get a bunch of help with you. Doesn't matter. What matters to me is seeing how our young guys can stack up against the best of the best, be it lefty, righty. Let's throw all the split crap out the window these last handful of games. I want to see what Aranda can do, how he can adjust and manage against Tariq Skubal. I mean, if he strikes out 4 times, okay, but I just want to see him get that experience and get those reps, because you don't know unless you put him in that situation, let him test it out. And they weren't going to, they probably weren't going to win anyway, but maybe Aranda leans into one and makes it more of an interesting ball game. But I am with you. I'm on your side. Let the hot hand ride. Let the young kid get some run against a very, very talented pitcher, because at some point, you're going to be matched up against someone like that in an important situation.
You know what frustrates me the most? Like, if this team was in the playoff picture, fine. Every game matters. Fine. This team has been dead since August.
Yeah.
The first week of August. And you guys can go back and listen to when we declare them dead. So this game is rather meaningless. This is September fall training.
Yes.
This is exactly the type of environment where I want to see what Jonathan Aranda can do with a Cy Young lefty pitcher. Show me what you can do, Jonathan, when you are riding at your highest, when you are the most confident you have ever felt in the major leagues. Show me what you can do. And you know, I know I just said it's a Kevin Crash moment, but we know how the Rays front office is very involved, and you know, most front officers are involved in making the lineup. So it's not only Kevin Cash here; it's the front office here, and I think this was a big swing and a miss. It doesn't matter because again, this team is not going to the playoffs. But you are missing a fantastic opportunity here to do something really good for a player that you want to see what he's got.
I'm with you. And for what it's worth, lefty in the lineup, Brandon Lowe, got a home run in that game. So 21st of the year, good for him there. What I'm also disappointed and upset by, I did not get to catch the game because I was busy working. I guess they changed the start time to 1 p.m. due to the hurricane and so forth. Okay. Or tropical storm, however we're qualifying it. But I am about sick and tired of seeing 2-1 losses, 3-2 losses on the board. So I'm ready for this year to end and let's put some runs on the board. And we got a couple listeners that have some ideas on how to figure that out, perhaps. So
we do.
And we will get to that. But first, I think we have to tell the audience a couple important things here.
Yes, we do. Kevin, I know you've traveled a lot, and you got to tell me, besides Boston, what city has really captured your feeling as oh my gosh, I didn't know this city had this?
I really like Cincinnati.
That's a good pick.
Yes.
That's a good pick. And you know what? Be like Kevin. Go hang out in Cincinnati using Booking.com, because this episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Look, you can explore any U.S. cities, including Cincinnati and Boston, with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city during the postseason. Hey, maybe you want to feel what a cool breeze is like instead of humidity. Well, go up north, use Booking.com, and they will deliver exactly the right U.S. stay for you. Again, Booking.com can make you a fan of any U.S. city. So the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Today, use Booking.com. That's Booking.
We also want to tell you about FanDuel. NFL fans out there, there's a lot of them. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So good, I'll repeat that phrase again. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Where do you do that at? That's FanDuel.com. All right, Ulises, we've got 3 mailbag questions that we've got to squeeze in a shortened amount of time. So let's not waste any time here. Let's get to the first question, a voice memo, which we love, prefer, and enjoy, from Michael Begg.
Hey guys, this is Michael Begg in Odessa, Florida. It is the 24th of September, and I am already daydreaming of the off season. And one thing's for sure, we need more dingers. I need to hear Dwayne say that baby is gone a lot more in 2025. What are your thoughts on the Rays trading with the Oakland Athletics for Brent Rooker and Shea Langelier, power hitting outfielder and power hitting catcher? They have a combined 66 home runs as of today. And my thoughts are maybe this is the deal that we trade Aranda or Mead, or deal from some of that pitching depth that we have. Maybe throw in Rene Pinto for a change of scenery. Would love to hear your thoughts, opinions, good idea, bad idea, but I'm definitely daydreaming. Thanks, guys.
Fun question there from Michael. Hey, I wouldn't mind having 66 plus bombs in the lineup, easy peasy next season between Langeliers and Rooker. The odds of that happening are very, very low. Heck, I'll do in a Rooker or Langeliers. I don't need both of them. I would just like one of them if the Athletics are willing to part. And I will say this to Michael's question and point, that is something that the Athletics are not shy about doing. They will trade guys in the prime of their life. They've done it with Sean Murphy. They've done it with Matt Olson. They've done it with Chapman. They've done it with Donaldson, Laureano. The list goes on. And those guys, I would think pretty much anybody and everybody is ecstatic to get out of Oakland in the mess that is. So I do like it from the perspective of an easy way to add dingers in the lineup, especially at the catcher position with Langeliers. But these guys also do have some flaws that the Rays may not appreciate as much as we appreciate dingers. Rooker, for example, I checked on Fangraphs. I think every game but 3, he's been a DH this year. In Langeliers, and maybe this is something that can be taught and worked with the coaching staff and the coordinators, his framing and blocking gets low marks according to the analytics. But yeah, I'm licking my chops at the power numbers, because these guys, it doesn't matter what ballpark you put them in, they will hit it long and far. Because if you look at their spray chart, there's not a lot of, that was a cheesy home run. That just got over the fence. These are major, major dingers, long shots, no doubters, if you will.
Yeah, they're major league home runs. They're not the 2019 Austin Meadows barely made it over the wall home runs.
They're not using the Yankee short porch.
No, and you know what? They would definitely benefit from that too, you know. But first, okay, let's address so many points there. Michael, thanks for your voice memo. Thank you. Number 2, love the self-awareness. You are daydreaming, so love the self-awareness. Keep it going. More people should be self-aware. Number 3, yes, it'd be awesome. Number 4, it ain't happening. Number 5, let's talk about it now. Okay. Yes. I think with Rooker, I think it's like you said, it's a slippery slope to call this guy an outfielder. Yeah. He's a DH. So knowing the Rays, that's not a thing they like to do. They like to keep the DH as a rover position.
Yeah, as a guy, it's a role to keep guys off their feet after playing a position 4 times that week.
Especially because of the turf too. The turf actually affects that, right? So you're just gonna pigeonhole a guy there. Now, if you were to pigeonhole a guy in a DH position in a team that doesn't like to do that, Brent Rooker would be that guy, because he's hitting 40 bombs and has a higher than 900 OPS. He has shown that he can be that guy now in straight seasons. He is affordable, just like Shea Langelier. But the one thing is, let's talk about Rooker or Shea Langelier, like individually, like you said, like you don't need to have them combo. But if you just take individually, how are you, the A's front office, and giving this guy up to the Rays without taking Pepio, Boz, or Bradley?
Yeah, I think they would want some combination of that with some of the prospects, grade A prospects that you either already had existing on the farm or recently acquired at the trade deadline. So,
It'd be negligence. It'd be baseball negligence to not ask for the
Right.
raise of Boz, Bradley, or Pepio. Now the Rays are not going to do that, so then we fall into the reality path of not going to happen. But and if you wanted to be devil's advocate for those names that you said, Sean Murphy, Laureano, Olson, Chapman, Donaldson, it's not like they got holes for these guys that are now major league all-stars. They got a lot of guys back.
Right.
Not a lot of them were able to stick around.
No,
So
that's
you can
fair.
see it that way. Like, hey, maybe they won't ask for those major pieces and they would just go for quantity.
Yeah. But I like the idea of maybe dealing more often with the A's because they don't care about player allegiance. They don't care about the fan base, and they'll give up whomever, whenever. It's not like you're trading interdivision. You're trading with West Coast AL teams, so you have that going for you. I guess, and not saying that the Rays are wanting to spend a lot of money by any means, but the A's are very cost conscious and wanting to keep their payroll down. So that would have to be a deal of, hey, we want some major league ready players. We'll give you some prospects if these are the types of guys that you think or you want to be able to build around. And I guess the thing with Brent Rooker, I mean, he has enough of a track record. If he was a guy that you were hoping to keep long term, he is a late bloomer. He really hasn't popped off till 28, 29 years old. Jose Bautista was a guy who was a late bloomer as well.
True.
So Brent Rooker, if I had to guess, he still probably has a good handful of years left in the tank, but that's also something that has to be considered. But fun question there from Michael, and it gets the wheels churning of some names to be talking about and throwing about. I mean, Langeliers at the very least would, I think, solve half or more than half of the catcher crisis that we're in right now.
Yeah, and it is a crisis. Very, very key word there. Also, if on the comments you guys feel differently, drop it in the comments and say, you know what, we can get Brandon Rooker, we can get Shea Langeliers, and we'll maybe screenshot them and put them on the next episode.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we went back with, buy low on Bo Bichette, you'd be buying high on Langeliers and or Rooker in that case as well. So, all right, let's get to this next question before taking a breather from Daryl Brooks. Daryl says, quick thought. The last few years, there's been discussion around the MLB of a 6-man rotation. If everyone is healthy at the start of the season, do you think the Rays might be the first team to try this strategy? Thanks.
Well, Daryl, thank you so much for writing to us. I've always thought that this would be such a cool idea for the Rays to try, because they've got, usually most years, they've got arms to spare, and you want to see them all, and you know how they like to shorten their innings thrown, either because they think that this guy is going to get Tommy John surgery, or because they're coming back from Tommy John surgery. So you're watching their innings, or hey, you know what, it's a young guy and they've never pitched more than 80 innings. So the graduation process of throwing more innings, it has to be gradual. But I've always liked it, and they've never done it. They have never done it, because I feel like they usually have at least one veteran pitcher, and you really can't throw them off schedule. Like, they're very rigid creatures, starting pitchers are. So that's the thing. Now, for next year, if you look at the rotation, the possible rotation, let's go Littell, Taj, Boz, Pepio, McClanahan, and then 6 and 7, Springs, Rasmussen, question mark. You've definitely got the talent there to do it. Shane McClanahan would be your veteran, but he's coming back from Tommy John. So if there, again, I'm going to be a fool again and think, you know what, they can do it. 6-man rotation, it can happen, because in this case, your veteran is a guy that you're trying to limit his innings. So couldn't you do that by
Right.
implementing a 6-man rotation, I think you could.
Yeah, I think there's possibilities on the table with guys coming back from injury. Rasmussen, what's his future? Is he going to be a full-time reliever? Or are you going to try to elevate him into a starter role? So maybe that's where the Rays can be a little bit more creative with openers, tandem openers, double openers, figure something out in that respect. But I think you hit on the key point is, and look, the Rays are known for, hey, we want guys to play a lot of different positions and pinch hit, substitutions, move guys around. But I feel like with starting pitchers, they've been so used to a routine and they've done this year in and year out. Throwing them off kilter makes it kind of challenging. And say you were to go away from the 6-man, doesn't work for one reason, a guy or two gets hurt, and you have to go to a 5-man, that could make things even more challenging. Plus, there's also the roster implications. So, if you're keeping this extra starter, do you have one less bullpen guy, one less position player? How do you figure that out? And innings have to be eaten up some way, some shape, some form. So, who does that tax at the end of the day? Does that put more pressure on the bullpen? Does that put more pressure on other guys? So I get there's both sides of the equation. Look, the Rays are notable for, and actually I think a 6-man rotation has been used previously, not necessarily by the Rays, but I think other organizations may have dabbled with it here and there, but there's got to be some evidence.
You know which one I can remember were the Colorado Rockies of, I want to say 2012 or somewhere around there, with when Tracy was their manager. I believe they tried it for a little bit. Yeah.
And the other thing too is, look, again, the Rays have been so inventive with so many things that if there was a team to try it out and make it work, make it successful, it could be this organization. But I would also be concerned about some of not just the routine, but the morale, because I feel like these guys, they want to go every 5 days. They don't want to go every 6 days. And when you're giving guys not as many starts, not as many innings, that ultimately hurts them when they're trying to make money in arbitration or free agency. Indeed. And I think that's something that is hard to sidestep and negotiate and politic going forward. So just wanted to throw that out there. But fun topic, fun question from Daryl there. Check in more often with us. We'd appreciate it. All right. We have one more mailbag question to get to, but first we have to tell the audience something very important. And one of those important things is Game Time. You should know about Game Time by now. And I want to tell you that Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. We all hate that, right? And there's a lot of other cool app features on Game Time. Some of the favorites out there: curated deals that make it easier to find the best price on great seats. The super deal, seat views before you buy, personal favorite. Lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection even, and so on and so on. So here's what you need to do. It's really simple. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB. What does that spell? Locked on MLB, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Ulises, what time is it?
It's game time.
That's right. It's game time.
Sometimes I feel like it's been a long day and you just want someone to just put their hands on you and make those bones crack. And you know what? I am looking forward to my visit at the joint, because I know I'm going to be feeling so much better. I might not be dodging tackles on the field, more like cheering from the couch, while the Joint Chiropractic has your back, literally. As an official chiropractor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're here to make sure you're always in the game, no matter your role. If you're feeling the pain after a long week or just looking to stay active, they offer personalized care to help you bounce back stronger. And guess what? At The Joint, you don't need an appointment. You can just walk in and get the care that you need same day. No scheduling hassles. You just walk in when it's convenient for you. So maybe this week, maybe next week, you can, say, hey, you know what I need? I need to do something for myself and my body. And you can go to The Joint. And here's the real kicker. As a Bucks fan, you can get your first visit for just $19. So head over to Buccaneers.com, check out the contest and promotions section under the fans tab, and download the offer. A great deal for great fans. Again, $19, and you're going to feel so much better. So again, head to thejoint.com to find your nearest Tampa Bay location.
You may not be dodging tackles, but you're dodging phone calls and spreadsheets. And all those calls and spreadsheets and inquiries, it just puts stress on your lumbar, your shoulders, your mid back, all of it. So yeah,
Bro,
you don't just have to be a pro. It's not just for pro athletes or college athletes. Even desk jockeys need a little adjustment every now and again.
That's right. Okay, so what do we got for the last mailbag?
All right, final question from Charles McGregor checking in again. His question is, with the Rays pitching performing so well down the stretch, do you think they should have been buyers instead of sellers at the deadline? I can't help but wonder if holding on to guys like Paredes and Randy and adding a bat or two could have helped them make a deep playoff run, especially with how inconsistent the AL division winners have been this year and how underwhelming the group of AL wildcard teams, aside from maybe the Orioles, although they've had their issues lately too. Perhaps I'm just drinking too much of the fandom Kool-Aid, but what are your thoughts?
Charles, thank you for writing to us. No, I mean, I think you're a fan. And you're just, wishing and hoping, and that's a completely normal reaction as a fan, right? Seeing this team be as poor offensively and so good with the pitching is obviously going to make those questions pop up, especially when you were 6 games left and 4 games away from the wild card spot. Like you start to get those questions. Could they have sneaked in if they kept Isak and Randy? Yeah, they could have sneaked
in. Eflin and Adam and Rosario and all the other guys. Yeah,
they could have sneaked in. I feel like the risk of potentially losing the opportunity to overhaul the farm system, and on the other side was a maybe sneaking in. Yeah, I think they just said, you know what, it's not worth it. Let's take this opportunity to reboot, and we could still maybe sneak in, and it almost happened. I feel like it's not seller's remorse for you, Charles. It's just a normal thing that's happening. But I feel like it really. What would that team have done? Offensively during the playoffs, like it
would have been a one and done wild card situation. It would have been the show we've seen the last couple of years. And I get it. Yeah, you add all those players that we traded for, mainly guys that are in low A or high A, and you say you add that bunch together, they would have 5 or 6 more wins on the docket than they do right now. But we also have to remember, with these guys, the Rays crapped the bed or were mid for 4 months. And
yes,
look, something could have happened with Randy finally heating up and getting things going. Paredes maybe staying true to form, although he's really struggled with Chicago. But I think the Rays saw it as there's a lot of buyers out there that are willing to pay top dollar for these guys. So we have a real good opportunity to shore up our farm system, be the best farm system in baseball. And yeah, it's going to take a couple years to see the fruits of that labor. Then again, you can also maybe turn some of those farm system players into big league ready guys. You could, just because you have them all down doesn't mean you can't trade them later for a piece here or a piece there. So I get it from that perspective. I would also say that, I mean, if there's something that maybe, I don't want to say upset me, but that I kind of wish that they would have gone after, is guys that could impact the team more ready than some of these low A guys. Like, I would have hoped to maybe get a DeLuca, Pepiot, guys that are okay. We're ready for them late stretch 2024 going into 2025. But
you would have liked to have more Hunter Biggies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Guys that we can see and actualize right now. But again, if they made the playoffs, I think it would have been the same disappointing situation. And for one reason or another, there's some bad clubhouse vibes, whether that's all on Randy, whether that's on some other guys. Something needed to be changed. Something needed to be shaked up. And I think the Rays jumped and leaped at the opportunity to do that. Plus, you know, they spent and the money didn't draw the returns that they thought it would. So they have an opportunity to save on salary and maybe make some moves in the offseason or as they get the new stadium built too.
Yeah, and with the chemistry inside the locker room, like they're never going to say stuff until like it's the off season or like after years.
Right.
But what we can think is, there was a huge overhaul of players, and not all of them have to be problematic, but it's the combination of things that might not be gelling well. After a few years, things get stale. There's animosity growing. There's maybe like a lot of past and a lot of those things. And there was an early indication that that something was going on. And that was Kevin Cash saying after 1 week of playing time, they had a players meeting, right? A team meeting after 1 week, right? Of the season. That doesn't scream to me like everything's awesome. And then they had one, I believe, a players only meeting after the Milwaukee trip, if I'm not mistaken. Milwaukee or Texas. I forget which one of those. They also had a players meeting. So multiple players meetings, just like multiple benchings, public benchings in a year doesn't scream confidence level to its highest.
And I mean, I hate to bring up the owl who shall not be named, but with Wander no longer part of the picture, probably the Rays just said, F it. Let's start over. Let's start over for 2026, 2027, because that's pretty much what we have to do when we lost a transcendent talent like that for reasons we could have never imagined. What's also interesting, last note on this. So on July 31st, the Rays were 55-53. They were 4.5 games back in the wild card. Now they are, if I can pull up the record, 78-79 and also 4.5 games back.
Yep.
So they haven't. So you can look at it two ways. Yeah, you add all those players that you traded, and maybe you get another win here, another win there. But the other way I look at it is, even without all these guys, they're still doing the same thing that they were for the previous 4 months.
And if you want to do a cheeky laugh, head over to YouTube and you can share in that inside joke with us. That's exactly what that tells us. I mean, could you have sneaked in? Sure, but you're not guaranteed anything. And I think, honestly, start fresh-ish with that new farm system. Let's get some good things going for 2025, and hopefully the big elephant in the room is addressed, even if it isn't Shea Langeliers and Brent Rooker. Maybe some positive offensive production can be obtained during the offseason.
Otherwise, you're going to have to throw a lot of shutouts in 2025 or 1 or 2 runs. That's it. Like, your pitching staff has to be historically good and no injuries whatsoever. Like, and no injuries has to be 100%. And but I would like to look at the numbers or the stats of how many playoff teams or how many teams that went deep in the playoffs ranked, 28th, 29th in the notable offensive categories. It can't be made.
The answer was nothing.
There we go. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. We appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow.